Are you a problem drinker, or what they class as a real alcoholic? I just say alcoholic, to be fair, because I am an alcoholic, as you all know from this channel. I think things come in 4 stages, maybe 5. And I think that when you're a problem drinker, you might be aware that you have issues, but you're in denial. But I think the first stage of anyone's drinking journey is a bit of experimentation, really. When you're young, you try a drink. I enjoyed it. It was great when I was a teenager. It gave me a buzz, gave me some self-confidence, and it was good fun. Nothing ever happened. On the wrong side of things, everything went pretty well, really. Didn't have any issues. Didn't have any hangovers. I wasn't drinking every day. I had a couple of cans most days, but I wasn't drinking heavily. Got a bit older. And stage 2 was when I would say you settle into drinking. A lot of people do this in the early 20s. It becomes a social norm to drink. And I think at that stage, it becomes a bit of a habit, really. But there's not really any problems. You might drink a bit more on your day off, weekends, that sort of thing. But you don't have any major problems. You become maybe the party guy, maybe the guy who can drink a bit more than others. Maybe you stay a bit later in the pub, or you go out earlier, or what I did was to go home when the pubs are closed and then have a few more. But really it wasn't causing that many issues. So I was still getting for work, I was still functioning well. I don't really like that word functioning, but I was still performing well at work. I looked alright, I felt alright. Didn't have any after effects really, or ill effects. Might have had the odd hangover. But I was drinking every day, a little bit. I worked shifts, I worked in central London. So if I was on earlies, I'd be up at 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. Get the underground in for work at 5 a.m. So I couldn't have too much to drink. So I used to have a couple of drinks early on in the night, as in 7 p.m. till 8, maybe 7 p.m. till 9. Get half reasonable sleep, I suppose. Other shifts late, I'd finish about 10:30, have a couple of pints in London, and get the underground back out home and have a few more drinks in the house. But I'd have a bit of a lie in and late. So I was enjoying myself, had a good time at work. I was sort of work hard, play hard, really. Guy, never had any issues at all, to be fair. Probably the odd headache. Something so, God, where's that 50 quid gone that I had last night? But nothing financially was a problem, because I had a good salary, and so did my wife at the time. Now, that carried on for a long time, stage 2. And then we'll move on to stage 3, which I think is the most dangerous part. Now, stage 3 is when you start to drink a little bit more. You might start to drink a little bit earlier in the day. And you might come into you might find that you're losing the plot a little bit. Get a bit late for work sometimes, possibly. You're not looking after yourself like you should. You're starting to rely on the drink a little bit more. You may put off social events that don't involve drink. Because as I said, the stage 3 is probably the most dangerous, I think. This is where I got into trouble. You might have financial issues because you're drinking too much. Not feeling particularly well. Not eating properly. At that stage, you're sort of slipping in to a much more dangerous phase. Some people I know got done for drink drive. Had a few altercations with people. I didn't. Thankfully, I was just lucky. And some lost their jobs. At that stage, they had maybe a few relationship issues creeping in. But they didn't really see a problem at stage 3. Just minor things. Nothing was massive. like I say, hangovers, relationships, maybe a few arguments about this and the other. So life becomes slightly more chaotic than it should have done. And psychologically you'd be thinking, God, I'm thinking too much. You're aware of your faults at this stage. But you start to slip into this, well, things will be all right. They'll be all right tomorrow. And you try and manage it. You try and slow down a bit. A few days where you're not drinking as much. Maybe you'll have a couple of days where you don't have any. But you know there's something just not right. The next stage, I would say, is between 3 and 4. 3.5. Now, you think you can manage it then, but the problems become worse. At that stage, relationships can break up. You may become unwell. Start taking more sick leave. Start making excuses for your behaviour. Maybe don't take the car as much because you don't want to drink. You don't have 1 pint or 2 pints, you want to have 5, 10. And it starts to get out of control here. And then once things like the arguments start, your wife, your partner threatens to leave, or they do leave, or you may lose your job, or you're not earning as much money because you can't cope, you can't do any overtime, you know you've got a problem. That's when you need to go and see a doctor, or you need to start seeking some help anyway and try and cut down. But I think by stage 3.5, as it were, you're pretty much on the way to full alcoholism, because then your problems become magnified and things become worse and worse. It's a bit of a vicious circle, really. That can last a lot of years. It did with me. And then stage 4 is alcohol dependency, when your body relies on you having a drink. And that's where I got into. In my 40s, dependency. So you start to have a hair of the dog. You're feeling so unwell. Your wife's maybe left you, or you've got a divorce, or whatever's happened. You may be living on your own, most likely living on your own. Probably packed in work, or you've got serious problems with work. You're not as fit as you used to be. And then you start to get more ill. So you go to the doctors, you come off. I used to get diazepam, come off. Have a few weeks off the drink, a few years in some cases, and then you start again. But by this time, you are an alcoholic. And you're in this cycle just goes round and round like a washing machine. You stop, you relapse, you stop, you relapse. Your health deteriorates, as mine did, and I became seriously ill. But interconnected with all that is the financial issues, the relationship issues, the fact you've got no life, you think there's no future, your health deteriorates, everything in your life will deteriorate with alcohol. So the 4 stages: experimentation, when you're starting. Number 2 is more or less when you're starting to drink properly, as I would call it. 3, you know you've got issues. 3.5, you're tipping into alcoholism. If you get to stage 4, then you will become dependent. So no matter what stage you're at, look at your lifestyle, look at your drinking, and seek some help. Because the younger you stop or cut down, I would recommend stopping, it's better for you. If you enjoy the channel, then please subscribe. If you've got any comments you'd like to make, please drop me a line, and I'll speak to you all soon. I'll do a much more detailed video about stage 4 later on this week. Thank you.